I assume we're back on. We had a dropout. I don't know how long that lasted, but we'll continue
About
on.
3 or 4 minutes. I remember when it happened. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that people caught on to that. But I'm going to soldier on with the books anyway. But it's happened before. If they want to stop your career, they don't like you for some reason. Let's say your wife is in politics or some other story that they don't like. They can stop you real easy. And it's all about the skulls and the Bohemian Club out here. And people joining hands to make sure other people don't get their 6 bits out there. So as far as free speech goes, I don't believe it really exists anymore. In the sense of getting published, anyway.
Well, it's true. I
look out of the street and you can have a peaceful gathering and you can scream in the street and say, down with the man or something, and nobody's going to say anything. But if you actually write a book, you get in trouble, especially if you're a good writer. That's another thing. That one of my gurus, Nelson Algren, who wrote The Man with the Golden Arm, he always said, if you're not pissing them off, you're not doing your job.
Well, there seemed to be a time, though, and I look back at books that apparently were suppressed, that I've gotten editions from. There seemed to be a couple of publishers around there that were willing to risk it and were allowed to do so.
Back in the day, Grove Press.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that's right. Like The Yankee and the Cowboy War, books like that. Lots of books on the underpinnings of the Kennedy assassination, that kind of stuff. That was all allowed to get out. But now they're tighter than ticks on it. They're right on top of it, man. They will not let you get out. They don't want you to get out. They don't want you to say anything. And it's kind of a compliment in a way, and it means that somebody agrees with me. Well, when you say something nasty about somebody and they try to suppress your book, be true, right?
There's no doubt about that. But in this situation, though, a lot of times the books that were, like I said, privileged and never allowed to come out, were going after big families like DuPonts and such, or big industries.
Right.
Now, in your situation, with what you've written about, are you taking on any, shall we say,
David Geffen, Courtney Love, the publishing industry in general, the recording industry in general? Yeah. I'm taking on everything Kurt was taking on. That's how come he got assassinated. The guy was taking on the whole industry. And they bopped him because he was just out of control. And the local cops in Seattle didn't care, because the last concert he did before he was killed, he had a sticker on his guitar that said, "Joy is a rock in a cop's face." And the local cops said, "Oh, well," they saw that in the corner when they went downstairs to search the house. About 2 weeks before he died, or a month before he died, they went down and took his guns away from him. And they went down in the basement or someplace, and they saw they saw the JagSag, his guitar in the corner there, and it had that sticker on there. "Joy is a rock in a cop's face." And that was it. That was it for the locals, right? Mm-hmm. Who, this guy? Fuck him. They weren't gonna do anything for Kurt. And so when he came around to really needing them a month later, and they needed an ambulance or needed help or anything, he didn't get anything.
Well, why don't you tell us about the situation? A lot of times when there's a suicide, it usually seems to be the story that those who want to keep it that way say the person was distraught. Those who feel it wasn't the case say he was fine, he was making plans, or he or she were making plans. What was the situation like in the months prior to his death?
Well, everything was set up to make it look like a suicide, okay. Yes, it would sound like, a lot of conspiracy theorists. Every time somebody kills themselves, there's a conspiracy theorist that pops out from behind the pumpkin. Pun intended. Now, here's the deal. The trouble with the American public, especially the young people, the college kids and stuff, is they've never been around heroin, or really hardcore street-level heroin, So I used to bring people down off of bad acid trips, and I've seen a lot of heroin backstage. And, I've seen it on the road, and I know what happens, okay? If you get an overdose of heroin, you poop your pants, you pee, you vomit, and you die immediately. You don't stand up and wipe off your gun and blow your nose, take a shower, comb your hair, write a note, and then gently lay down and put a shotgun in your mouth and blow your head off. You don't do that. That's not how heroin kills you. Heroin kills you. You're foaming at the mouth. You fall over the toilet, usually on your way to trying to vomit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what an overdose does. It's a toxic poison. It kills you. So you cannot just shoot up and then gently take all of the syringes, all of the rubber ties or the necktie or whatever you use, and put it neatly in a box. Or, by the way, no box had any of that in it anyway, and it doesn't work with black tar heroin anyway. It only works with white heroin, you know, a China white or a Persian, and or some kind of heroin that was like fentanyl or something that was fixed into it to make it twice as strong, like OxyContin ground up pills or something. So what happened when they did the autopsy on Kurt's body? Yes, the police said it was well, actually, it wasn't even the police. It was the local medical examiner said it was a suicide. But that was before he actually had the blood samples. When he finally got the blood samples and looked at them, he found that he had like enough heroin in him to kill 5 guys. Kurt was only 117, 120 pounds. And he had like 2 syringe marks in his arm, fresh syringe marks in his left arm. Well, the guy was left-handed. In order for him to shoot up in his own left arm, okay, he would have had to have some help, and I'm sure he did. Whoever shot him up killed him. He was already dead when they used a shotgun on him. They used a shotgun to make it look embarrassing so that he wouldn't become a martyr. But it would. They actually, the other side of that is also true. They used a shotgun to make sure the sales of the records kept on going, because if he had just been a junkie, what happens with several other people, their records die out when they become when they kill themselves from an overdose of heroin. A lot of people just don't get on a bandwagon. The way Kurt killed himself, he got a lot of sympathy for people and made it look like he killed himself. So he made a lot of money after he died. In fact, he made way more money after he died than he ever did when he was still alive. So he was better to somebody dead. And he also he walked off from the Geffen record contract. He told Geffen that he wasn't going to make any more records for him, and he was going to go independent. He had already had several people, including Steve Albini, who was his last record producer on the In Utero album, who incidentally I read about him. I never met him. I'd love to meet Steve Albini, because Albini is like a brilliant genius and a radical, really far out, anti-establishment guy, you know? And he was getting into Kurt's ear about how Kurt should go independent, and Kurt was on his way to being independent, and so Kurt died. That's the only thing. But you don't need to know. All you need to know is the forensics about the heroin and the fact that Kurt was on his way to doing his own record company and going independent. That's all you need to know, and that was enough to kill him.
All right, he had fulfilled his, any kind of contractual obligations to...
Yes, he had, as a matter of fact, and they wanted him to come back and re-sign, and he didn't want to re-sign.
How long after he made that clear did he die?
Less than a month. What he did was he gave a handwritten letter, which he signed, on yellow foolscap to his attorney, who happened to also be his manager's girlfriend. Hang on a minute.
Did you shut the door? Talking with Hank Harrison, the author of Love Kills, the investigation of Kurt Cobain. Just trying to bridge the time that you were taking care of Bowser.
Yeah, no, there's 4 Bowsers, and somebody's at the front door. Hang on a minute, I'm sorry.
Once again, folks, if you want to call in, you can do it on 888-333-9009. And we're with Hank Harrison. Hank, you back with us? Live radio, you gotta love it. Again, Hank Harrison, the number is 888-333-9009. If you want to call in and ask when I'm not, you can do that. And Hank, are you with us again?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. Now, we were talking about the timeline with making it clear that he was no longer going to re-sign with the record company.
He had a lot of records to produce in his head, and he was sick and tired of courting, and he was sick and tired of the shenanigans that were going on. He had a management company called Gold Mountain, and Gold Mountain was in conflict of interest with Kurt's desires. Kurt wrote a letter and gave it to Rosemary Carroll. Rosemary Carroll couldn't believe what she read on the letter, threw it in the back of her top drawer, went out and told her old man, who was the head of Gold Mountain, to ignore it. Oh, we better get together and do an intervention on Kurt because Kurt's going to bulk and go south on us and, not be with us anymore. And I'm going to assume, though I'm not sure about this, that not only was Kurt going to try to leave Geffen, but he was also going to leave Courtney, and he was going to leave Gold Mountain. Mm-hmm. So all those people were standing to lose millions, not just 100,000 here and there, several $1 million a year for 20 years, which is what's turned out to be the case.
Are you saying that your daughter was at risk for losing money as well?
Oh, yeah, of course, because she was in it up to her ears as far as making sure that Kurt signed that contract, re-signed that contract, or putting pressure on her. She'd already stretched herself out on favors. She had markers all over the place. People had to do this and do that for her and have airplanes waiting on the airport for this and that and the other thing while she flew back and forth to Seattle, that kind of stuff. So she was always getting freebies and additional perks. And Corrigan and her were working on a Knollapalooza, and Kurt was offered $12 million. He turned it down to do the Knollapalooza. That freaked her out. So,
how long had things started to disintegrate before finally he had made it known that he wanted to make a break not only with Courtney but with Geffen as well?
Well, I think the real major tipping point as far as the disintegration of the relationship goes was when Courtney got in trouble with Vanity Fair magazine. And they said that she was on heroin when she had the baby, when she was pregnant. And Courtney went completely ballistic, and Kurt got sucked into that deal. And I think there was a second tipping point as far as the Nirvana band group goes. 3 or 4 people in the band, and that includes Pat Smear, was that Kurt had wanted to do a deal where he split everything down the middle, and they did that at first, and then on the second record, Courtney demanded that Kurt get the majority of all the publishing and all the royalties, and then give them something like a third. So they had to give money back, and they fought it but lost the case, so they had to give money back. And then after Kurt died, they sued her again and won some concessions from her. But there's always been a long history, a litany of lawsuits in regards to Kurt listening to Courtney. And I think one of the reasons the band, if this is what I'm hearing from people that knew Dave Grohl, was that they were pissed off at Kurt because he was kind of wimpy when it came to standing up to Courtney. So there was I think, a turning point there, too.
Again, we're talking with Hank Harrison. He is the author of Love Kills, The Assassination of Kurt Cobain. The website is hankharrison.com. And just for a moment, you have other titles to your credit. Are they available on your website, Hank?
Well, not just on the website. I mean, you can get them through Amazon. If you order them, you have to order them. You can go down to any major bookstore, any small independent bookstore, and order a book, and they'll order it for you. But you go to the website, you find out what I'm up to today or this week or this month. Not so much in the past, but yeah, there's 2 books on the Grateful Dead, Volume 1 and Volume 2, and a 3rd book still coming out. It's finished, but I haven't had, again, I can't get a publisher for that. This funny thing, you see, there's a track record here. I had Volume 1 sold 175,000 copies. Volume 2 sold 225,000 copies. And there was a British mass market paperback. There was a Portuguese translation for Brazil. There was German translation, a French translation, and so forth and so on. And several bootlegs, and yet I can't get the 3rd volume out. Now, there's something wrong with that picture. Maybe they think, well, the market's dead for deadheads, and we're only selling to deadheads. But that book was selling to sociology professors as well as deadheads. And it was selling to some sociology professors who were deadheads.
Yes, that's true.
So, so the point is that the market's not as big as it used to be, but I think the book is so well written and well enough written to get published, at least to get published to, some independent press somewhere. I can't even get a phone call. People are afraid of me. They won't even talk to me on the phone.
Now, this volume is expanded from the previous two. Is that correct?
It's an extension. It's not about it's all different stuff. It's about the ones that people that died and more like Alan Cohen, who died, and all the hepatitis that everybody got, and about how Phil had to get another liver and why he had to go live in another state to get another liver, stuff like that.
All right, and now that is not yet completed as far as your writing. Is that correct?
The book is finished, pretty up to about 90%. But here's the deal. It's the only series of books that were ever produced, a sociological analysis of a rock group over a 45-year, 50-year period. I mean, the book starts in the band basically got together in 59 or 60 at the College of San Mateo. Mm-hmm. It goes all the way to, the year 2009. So, there's a 40 or 50-year period there that's covered consistently in the book in 3 volumes.
All right. With regard to the situation behind Love Kills,
yeah.
Are you presenting in there any kind of release documents, death certificates, any kind of reports that would show people, firsthand exactly what went down?
Absolutely. There's some redundancy in the sense that a lot... Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is available on the Internet. Anybody research can go out to smokinggun.com and dig it up themselves, Mm-hmm. Then there's also a lot of material that's been in circulation on places like kittyradio.com. Have you ever heard of Kitty Radio?
No, I haven't.
Well, Kitty Radio is kind of the Riot Girl version of what you're doing. It's kind of a independent, website for ladies that are like disenfranchised Courtney Love victims, Mm-hmm. And there's all kinds of different bits of information that I've dug up that people have sent me, people have given to me, photographs that I took personally, went out to the houses. I used my entree to get into certain police stations and talk to certain cops off-duty, offline, and, off the record, but got enough information to put 2 and 2 together, and I think I put a pretty good book together. But mostly the book is about what happened to me. It's not about me personally, but it's about, from my perspective, about what it would be like for a grandfather to want to see his grandchild and not be able to see the child because her father killed himself or didn't kill himself and, found out that he was actually murdered. And so there's a lot of that in the book. It's about 600 and something pages.
Now, obviously, with the material that you're dealing with and the kind of delicate issues,
right?
Did you have to write this with the guidance of any kind of counsel?
Did I get my head shrunk?
That's another word for it. Now, we're talking about counsel as in a barrister.
Oh, well, several lawyers. Yeah, I'm constantly in touch. One of my lawyers got shot in 1997 in the back by a Vietnamese gang on the streets of San Francisco, so that was kind of terminated that deal. But that's another show. But as far as lawyers go, no, not so much. I know the business. I know this. I'm a publisher. I'm a registered publisher myself. So I know the law as far as slander and libel and that kind of stuff goes. Mm-hmm. But as far as any kind of extra research that I did, I forgot, what was your question again? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying that has you done this with the aid of lawyers, obviously, because of the delicate nature of the book?
Not really. Only a couple of guys that told me this and that and the other thing about being careful not to slander and libel. Anybody. There's no need for that anyway. Just tell the truth and walk away, Well,
I mean, obviously there are defenses for it, and I'm
well,
aware of
any
that.
Publishers out there that are listening, or anybody that knows a publisher that wants to make a small mint on getting this book out, even if we have to get it out through Hong Kong or something, I'm willing to work with anybody, really. I'm not looking for a lot of money on this. I'm not looking for any money, actually, at this stage. I've been accused of doing it for exploitive reasons, and that's going to have to be proven to the public. So I guess what I'm going to have to do in order to break down those criticisms is to not make any money. And it's okay if that's the way the game's going to be played, if that's the way they want to do. That $36 million or $200 million, or people like David Geffen who have billions and billions of dollars want to say, oh, well, he's just trying to make money, and we're not. You know, okay, if that's the way you want to be, I'll be David and you be Goliath, and I'll win every time. Because if it's necessary for me to get the book out, and I can get another book out on the Holy Grail, or my second volume of the Grail trilogy out, or my third volume on the Dead out, or any of the other books that are sitting on the shelf waiting to go out, some of these could make a huge amount of money on me, you know. Be more than happy to work with them.
First of all, what you had said before, that there is no free press, and there isn't, and there hasn't been.
Well, not anymore.
Century,
yeah.
You know. Well, I'd even go back a lot further. It depends on who, you know, what it is if it's inconvenient speech, or if it's inconvenient writing, or if it whacks somebody, then all of a sudden it gets real expensive, free speech. And I mean, censorship is more prevalent now than it's ever been before.
Absolutely, and the way it can be done. So the Internet is like the only way people can rap to one another, and it seems like it's a lot of idle waste of time, too, in some ways, you know, because it's not really getting it out to... Hello?
Yep. Right.
It's not getting it out to the actual people that need to get it, you know, and so a book, the thing about the book format, the paper format with a hardback book or a paperback book, is that it's still not dead. People think it's dead. Marshall McLuhan years ago said the book is dead. Of course, that turned out to be not true, and it never will be true. As long as there's a sunlight to read, you'll want to have a book. Even if there's no electricity, you'll still be able to read a book by candlelight.
We have a question for you, too.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
As an alternative, and I want to mention something too along the lines of publishing, but somebody asked, have you ever thought about making an audio book as well?
Oh, yeah. I have it out right now. You can get a free copy of the prior draft of the Love Kills book under the name Beyond Nirvana or Love Kills on a PDF CD. You can, you can just write me, and I'll send you a CD, which is in PDF Adobe format, right? That's out. That can be out. There's no problem about that. I can get that out to you in 3 days' time. Just write me an email, send me enough money to, produce the CD. I think it's like $7 or $8, and the mailing. And I usually ask about $10 for them because that's about what it costs. It's $3 or $1.75 to $3 for a good solid blank CD, and then the mailing and shipping and all that stuff, and the time it takes to press one. And I'll send it to you. That's true with all my books. You know, if you want to see them, they're out there, and if a publisher wants to see them, I can get them to them in 48 hours.
Well, one of the things I was going to mention as well, first, it might be a good
No, I haven't done an audio book on tape. No, I haven't done that.
Okay. All right, and that answers your question. Thank you for that. And I'm wondering if it isn't a good idea for you to put up that order information on the website.
It's on there.
It is up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I hope somewhere, as you go to the website, you'll see a Cobain case, and just press on that.
Yeah, I see it.
And that will take you down to the cover art of the new cover.
Right.
Which is kind of macabre. And then you go to that, and you can see the cover. Then you can go back and send me an email.
Okay. Place an order. Okay.
Which email is Hank. I tried to get it working this morning, and I didn't see it working. I don't know if it's working for most PCs. It should work on, but anyway, it's hank@hankharrison.com. hank@hankharrison.com. That's all you have to do. I'll put you on the mailing list, and send me an email.
And I'm wondering if some of the listeners can help me out with this, because one of the things I was thinking about with regard to a publisher that might be open to it. Certainly, it's taken on some big guys to include. That would be Skull and Bones, for one. Is Chris Milligan out of Oregon, and I can't remember his publishing house, but if you did a search on that, or if anybody out there can go ahead and tell us who that publisher is. We've had Chris on the show, and he isn't offended easily, so I was wondering if that might be a possibility.
Right. Anything goes. That's okay with me.
You were around the music scene for quite some time, and that was some span that you've been around for, and now what I'm wondering about is when the grunge sound of the Seattle sound came out. How did you take to that? I mean, was that something that was something that you could compare and be just as entertained by as what you heard in the outset with the old Warlocks who later became the Dead?
Well, you're making a couple of assumptions.
I am.
You're assuming that I like the Grateful Dead music.
I am.
You're assuming that I really loved as long as the Warlocks were doing Wooly Bully, I was okay. Sam the Sham and the Pharaoh. Where I'm coming from. No, I'm a big third stream jazz. Jimmy Jufrey, J.J. Johnson, Miles, Art Blakey, Jazz Messengers, Jazz Crusaders, that kind of stuff. That's pretty much the big band. Even Stan Kenton. Big bands like Maynard Ferguson's spin-off band from when he was with Kenton and so forth. Those are the music I like to listen to.
Do you Charlie Parker aficionado at all?
Oh, yeah, sure. I have a couple of really old Parker 78s and 33s right here, right now. Yeah, I like Charlie Parker with strings. It was incredible, man. I like to listen to that. Yeah, sure I am. Bird. I love the Bird,
And of course, he was number one, too, I think, with Kerouac and the Boys as well, wasn't he?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. But Illinois Jacquet and all those old guys that, just that led into that,
all right, so I did make the assumption.
Hannibal Adderley,
right?
He was afterwards, but, I really dug Cannibal. And
Miles Davis has done a couple of covers, too, and also a little salute to Kerouac as well.
Right.
But you were a jazz guy, huh?
Yeah, I am. I still am, yeah.
Well, I did make the assumption that you necessarily had to like what was going on to be able to write about it. And so you did anyway. What was your association or your disassociation?
Well, I was Phil Leish's roommate on and off for 7 or 8 years. And, you get exposed to people like Lenny Lasher and Phil learning, playing bass, with each other, and you absorb it. And like at night, I'd be cooking dinner, and you'd look out the window, and there'd be the parking lot in Stuttgart outside, and half the Mercedes-Benz in Marin County were in our driveway, At that stage, we had Jorma Kalkinen over for dinner, and David Crosby would show up for dinner, and Stone the Crows showed up in mass, and, it would every day, it'd be somebody else showing up,
Mm-hmm.
Then we'd throw a dinner for the crew, and they'd come over with their girlfriends and wives. So it was constant socializing, and I was a good cook and gourmet chef, so I went on a couple of special trips to, I used to get food stamps. Bobby Peterson had a wife named Jane Peterson, and she used to be a social worker. So we used to go down and get food stamps from Jane, even though we were making $60,000 a year. And we used to go down and the local grocery store and buy filet mignon with food stamps. And the guy at the grocery store was like, I hate us, because it was the right wing, and I'd be in there, and there'd be Ali Akbar Khan in there buying Shabazz Regal, So that was Marin County in the 70s. That's what it was like, and the early 70s. And you'd go down to a bar, and next door to the bar was Van Morrison's mom-and-pop record store. He bought his mother and father a record store in Fairfax.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was just like a little town, like an extension of the Haight-Ashbury moved over to Marin, All
right, we have a caller, so let's take it at that time, okay, Hank?
Sure.
All right, caller, come on. Hello. Hiya.
Hello, Viv.
Yes, sir.
This is Daniel from Kentucky. I'm the one that sent you the Bluegrass Conspiracy book.
Yep, and you sent me an email a little while ago. No problem, Kim.
Yeah, I was wondering, have you heard about Terrence McKenna and his time wave theory?
What theory?
The time wave theory.
No, I know who Terrence McKenna is, but I haven't been keeping up with that. I've got enough paranoia of my own, but no, I haven't. Sorry.
He died in 2000, and he predicted a high point for 9/11, and I feel like they're trying to stifle anybody from knowing about it. I think he was on to the occult time frame that they work with.
Listen, let me ask you a question. What part of Kentucky are you from right now?
I'm about an hour from Lexington.
Oh, you're not over by Longwood anywhere or somewhere? Over by the West Virginia border?
I'm about an hour and a half from West Virginia.
Oh, I have some friends in Longwoods.
Oh, by the way, Kim, also, there's going to be a discussion, although it will be taped, where Philip Coppens from Scotland has addressed a lot of the work of Terrence McKenna and what would seem like an untimely demise, certainly premature, and that'll be on in the 9 p.m. hour. And also, I'll tell you this much, too, Kim. I mean, even though you're going to be deprived from being able to talk to him live, if you do get a chance to listen, I would also suggest that you give him an email, tell him where you heard the information, and I'm sure he'll exchange with you if he can at all help you in that manner.
Yeah, the only thing else I wanted to say was he predicted in October of this year another event on the lines of 9/11.
Are you saying that he had predicted back when that there would be a terror event coming this October?
Well, he called it yeah.
Go ahead, Hank. You know about this?
No, but that's what I'm hearing him say. He was saying that McKenna was a visionary and he knew what was going to come.
And when was this made, by the way? Do you know, Kim?
He predicted it back in the 90s, and 2000 was when he died, in 2000.
All right, so he never had he did not live to witness 9/11/2001 then?
No, he was dead before that. And he had a real strange brain tumor that was like 1 in a billion chance of getting.
Well, it's interesting, too, and, I mean, we won't go into it any further. We're a little off topic, but let me say this. I'm wondering if perhaps his prediction for October, say, 2008, might have been 7 years later than the event that he might have seen. It's a possibility. I don't know. We're thinking of it as another one for sure. Could it possibly that he overshot the runway by 7 years?
Oh, no, I don't think 9/11, too.
What was
there's a lot of plans. There's a lot of airplanes circling the runway right now as they're back. I'm sure of it. I'm not so sure we're actually going to get another president. I mean, there's always that old Rand scenario still circling around there. I'll be happy if anybody becomes president.
Well,
I'm not really going to be that political this time around. I just like to see another president.
It's interesting you should say that because the informer who's also on, I hate to be a shameless self-promoter, but at 6 o'clock, at 5 o'clock rather, the informer's talking, and I don't know if we did this online or not, but apparently George Bush has written another EO, which kind of reinforces.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and
he wrote him himself. He doesn't write him himself. Come on, man.
I know. He uses a crayon. I know. It wouldn't be good.
Exactly. He's got a word processor. It looks like Edison invented it. No, he's seriously not thinking of... If you give Bush credit for doing anything, you're making a mistake because
right.
It's his pals behind the scenes that are pulling all the strings.
Yeah, that's true.
It's howdy-doody time, man.
Huh?
It's howdy-doody time.
Well,
Paul Smith and howdy-do say howdy-do to you know.
Well, that's why I'm not, again, I mean, whatever president, and people who listen to the show are in agreement with this too, whatever president is a resident of the Oval Office, they do not do their own thinking. They are being handled, and if they do change their mind, and they should try to go vote.
Shit as the publishers, they get the writers that can't get their books out.
They get shot.
Well, they get shot, or they get suppressed to such an extent that they find cum stains on a blue dress or whatever, They're embarrassed, or they get shot, or they do something, Mm-hmm. But there's lots of ways to take a guy out. You don't have to kill him to humiliate him to the point where he's ineffective and anymore, you know. So as far as I'm concerned, I just like to see a new president. I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat or independent, as long as there's another president.
And that would make you feel relieved. Why?
That the democracy works, that there is actually somebody voting, and that the people actually get to vote. I'm convinced that I'm almost on the verge of saying, hey, I think we've blown it. I think it's gone. I'm seriously thinking it's gone, man.
We just got an email, an IM message that said Terrence predicted 9/11 too. So that's interesting. That would mean that he was not mistaken, that there would be another one.
Right.
And I was trying to ask how, and I don't know if we'll get that by the time that we get off the air. But Kim, anything else you'd like to ask or a comment you'd like to make?
No, that's all, but I appreciate it.
And Kim, thank you very much for sending that book, The Blue Cross Conspiracy, because that was frightening as hell. And the fact is that it's true. I tried to get a hold of that author. I had not been successful. But, you know, that kind of resonates with what went on in Arkansas with Clinton and the MENA mob. And we're also going to have somebody on in the future who's going to chronicle money laundering for a drug pipeline through Minnesota as well, with local police and apparently the FBI, either wittingly or unwittingly, kind of knocked it off. So, yeah, I mean, drugs makes the world go around, and few people realize how much it is necessary to the economy.
Well, you know, there was a police officer that was killed just after Kurt Cobain died in Seattle, and he was talking to Kurt, and I think Kurt was sort of blowing the whistle on certain people in his group, or not his group, his band, but in his immediate awareness, shall we say, who were using their power to distribute heroin throughout the country, and I'm pretty sure he was getting ready to snitch on him, and that's another reason why he had to go.
Well, was that kind of thing known to you and your cohorts back in the 60s? Was this stuff going on in the store?
Oh my God, sure.
Did you know firsthand, or did you hear accounts of how deceased soldiers in Vietnam had their corpses packed with heroin, and that's how they shipped it across to LAX?
Living soldiers in casts with broken legs coming in with opium and heroin in their casts with my own eyes. Saw the guy crack open the cast, pull out the dope, saw it myself. I'll swear to it with a lie detector. I mean, it wasn't just the corpses, it was everything. They were bringing it in a large, all kinds of amounts, in small amounts and large amounts. But wouldn't surprise me at all if the corpses were being used to smuggle heroin.
Yeah, I mean,
it wouldn't even surprise me. You know, in fact, if you look at it from a sort of a negative viewpoint, it's a pretty clever idea. But it wasn't. To me, it was like pretty ugly. But you know, heroin itself is ugly.
But
so anything to do with heroin is ugly.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Ken.
I used to go to Grateful Dead concerts, and the first time I saw them, I was just like a fringe fan. I didn't really care that much about the music. I just wanted to go for the experience. But it seemed like after I saw that first concert, that's the only kind of music I wanted to listen to. And I was just wondering if your opinion that there was any kind of programming or mind ops going on at those concerts.
Not directly, but in the music, there's a lot of hypnosis in the music. Yeah, I don't think the musicians themselves were mean-spirited people, though.
But was there anything though they did composition-wise that might have been? And if there's research to that effect, and we believe there is.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, good.
But it goes to the medieval. It goes back to 800 or 900 years ago. It's just the kind of putting together the music of the spheres, the planets. For example, listen to the modern score to The Planets by Holst, you know. You get some idea of the kind of mental states that can be achieved, hypnotic trance states that can be achieved, right? So I'm not going to say any more about it, but it sounds pretty obvious to me that anybody that's, well, of course, there was a lot of people taking LSD at those concerts too, you know, and various other drugs, and so it was just like a big bacchanalian sort of Dionysian Greek orgy type of thing, you know, like an initiation ceremony. And that's thousands of years old. That goes back, way back. So there were specific kinds of music being played at these Greek festivals that were tuned to psychological
manipulation.
Yeah, and emotional states.
Okay.
As far back as the Egyptians and the Greeks and so forth.
Okay.
So yeah, it was happening.
All right, Kim.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think there was any government work going on. I don't think the Grateful Dead were playing on the government team right at that time. Trust me.
Well, that's interesting you would say that because, you know, everybody's assumption that this goes back to then, and this is not the only time that you've said that you don't believe they got their hands in there just yet.
The government, no. They were trying like crazy. They couldn't do much. I don't know who they got. They might have got Mickey turned around somewhat. I don't know. Mickey would probably do anything for money or for power. But as far as Phil or Jerry goes, absolutely out of the question.
All right, we also have a question for you that was sent through email. And the listener wants to know, what is your impression of the film? Firstly, there's a two-part question. What was your impression of the film Kurt and Courtney?
I was in it.
Is that you liked it or you didn't?
A very good film. You mean the Mike Broomfield? Maybe not Mike Broomfield. The Nick Broomfield film. Yeah, absolutely. I was in it. In fact, I wrote part of it. I gave him a working script. He didn't have a script to start with, so I gave him a script from my book, and he took parts of it and turned it into a kind of a working draft. And I liked it.
Well,
ironic, yeah. And what was the second part of the question?
Oh, well, this is going to somewhat answer it, but still, it bears asking. And what was your opinion specifically of Nick Broomfield?
Oh, he's a very, very, very top-quality filmmaker. No doubt about it. A bit naive, but he's English.
Okay. Well, now, you know what happens when stories are put on the big screen. Sometimes authenticity, if not almost always, seems to suffer. How close did they stick to the authenticity of...
No, he got into it after a while. You see, the thing is, Broomfield's style has always been to write about himself. He always made, like, autobiographical movies. All of Broomfield's movies are about him being in the movie. You know, it's not like Geraldo Rivera. It's all about him, you know? But aside from that, it's not so bad. I mean, the guy's really a good technician. He knows how to do... He does a lot of... And in the film, if you look at the film, you'll see when the car pulls up to my ranch house, to the side of the ranch house, and I'm standing in the driveway waiting for them. They're coming down the road to this big Lincoln, and the cameras are already rolling, you see, and that's his technique. He likes to roll when he pulls right up, see?
Mm-hmm.
So I put my head in the window, and I said, cinema verite, I see. Well, hardly anybody got that, you know, but it was the most clever thing. I said it for my buddies in the Grateful Dead because, and anybody who's esoteric knows that what cinema verite means. It means film of truth, you know?
Life, yeah.
Yeah, you know, real life. And I'm thinking, I said it in the most sarcastic Grateful Dead tone of voice I could possibly use. And if you go and see, if you get the disc and see it, and you'll see it's cinema verite, sort of. and I was so arrogant, and I'm so. One of the reasons I don't get published is that I'm such an elitist pig, you know, when it comes to me knowing more about it than everybody else, you know.
Okay. I won't touch that. Let's see if I have anything else for you. It said, and this is a comment, so we'll throw it out to you. Winterland in San Francisco in the 60s, free acid, and therefore mega groupthink. Comments on that? Yeah,
that was a big problem. I always thought that was a real problem. I always thought that was a problem with deadheads in general. Mega groupthink. You know, it's a guaranteed. If you have 200,000 fans, or say 100 or 200 or 500,000 fans, situated, or even 1 million, situated around the country or around the world, you're guaranteed that if you show up at a given town, you're going to sell out a given size venue, right?
Uh-huh.
Miracle ticket, right? The term miracle ticket comes to mind. There's always people trying to spend money to go to a Grateful Dead concert. And I always thought it was kind of naive of these young kids who were getting brainwashed by the music and by going to the concerts because, you know, they were keeping the Grateful Dead alive. And, of course, the Grateful Dead were doing good things for the rainforest and good things for using the money in proper ways. Of course, they all retired with $12 million each. But, and that seems to have lasted them. But as far as I could see, I don't think anybody got really in a lot of trouble with it. A lot of people dropped out, I guess, but as far as, you know, being middle class. But as far as the Grateful Dead are concerned, I don't see any of them as being, quote, evil or evil-minded,
no,
per se. But, yeah, as far as groupthink, absolutely, man. That's what, you know, frightened the hell out of me, was these people were starting to become just one giant party, and the same old party over and over again. They were all wearing their same tie-dyes. They were all wearing their same uniforms. They were all wearing their hair the same way. It all looked a little different, but it was all the same. You follow what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, when it comes right down to it, the first people on the Internet to say good riddance to bad rubbish when Kurt Cobain died were Deadheads. And that really threw me off. I thought, what the hell's going on here? Here are these compassionate, supposed to be brilliant, enlightened acid heads out there going to Dead concerts, and when one little guy, and they didn't like Kurt Cobain because he said he didn't like the Grateful Dead, so they all said, oh, poo-poo on him, and whenever he died, they were saying, what an asshole, boy, we're glad to see he's gone, you know, and that's what they said about Kennedy when Kennedy got shot, John Kennedy. So I'm saying to myself, what in the hell's going on here, you know? Is it the vital flaw in the American psyche that can't handle competition? If it's your group or the highway, it's no, you know, you can't just have a red chicken and a black chicken in the same pen, you know? You got to have all black chickens or all red chickens, you know?
Well, with the
what's the matter with us as a nation that we can't have diversification?
Well,
you know?
I mean, we call it division. I mean, that's really what's turned into. But
yeah.
Do you look toward that attitude by Deadheads as being something that goes with another generation?
Well, I don't see I see them saying that they're rebelling against their moms and dads, but I see them mimicking their moms and dads much more than they're rebelling against them.
Well,
you know, when you see the elitist Grateful Deadheads, the Deadheads with the gold stickers on their cars, and, you know, like I think there was a Don Henley song,
yep.
Deadhead sticker in a Cadillac, you know.
You can never go back.
You can never go back, right?
I have to say, though, I wasn't much as a concert goer, but if there was any group that had the most entrenched groupies that I was aware of, because it was that prevalent, it was the Dead.
Absolutely.
I mean,
they would tolerate. Here's the thing: Jerry could be singing completely out of tune. Phil could be whacked. Mickey could miss 3 beats in a second, and they would still think it was, oh, they did it on purpose. You know, it was just sort of, you know, it wasn't always. Sometimes they were just rehearsing and charging people for it. You know, which is fine. That's the way they were. That's spontaneous. It's part of their deal, you know.
It's good. Listen, we're talking with Hank Harrison. The website is hankharrison.com. Go take a look at that and see what he has to offer. He has a number of books out there. You know, the one that, you know, was my entree to you was the Dead book. And
Volume 1.
Volume 1, that's right. That's right. And it was such a hoot, as I said in that last show, when I'm just going on about this, and you're like, dude, I'm the author. I was like, oh, okay. I
said I wrote that book. Same as the author, I guess, but I don't think of myself as an author per se. But anyway, the point is that, you know, my books about the Grateful Dead are attempts to be objective, which means there's some negativity in there. And if you think I'm just out there to kiss ass, all the other books on the Grateful Dead are out there. Please read those books. Those are the books that are out there to help you to wipe the lipstick off your face after you kiss enough ass. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is trying to lay it out sociologically and anthropologically so that future generations, people who never who may just be able to go get a Grateful Dead record and listen to it and then say what was going on there will read my book and say, oh, I see, this was kind of a mixed bag of weird stuff going on. You know, and that some people were in trouble and some people were enlightened, you know, and I'm trying to be as objective as I can and as even-handed as I can on all of my books. But there are some negative stories to tell, and if I can't tell them, then it's not free speech.
All right, Hank, we were running out of time, so I was just wondering, you got any idea, depending on when you extinguish, if you have to, a number of avenues, when that book might come out, Love Kills?
It's out now. All you're going to do to get the book is write me a letter and you'll get the book, okay?
All right.
I mean, you won't get it in paper form because it's too expensive to put it out.
Okay.
But I can make a CD for you.
Okay. And there you go, folks. There you hear it. Hank Harrison, thanks very much for being back with us. And I want to let you know that the publisher, the publishing house that Chris Milligan is in charge of is Trine Day, Trineday. And if you go there, good luck with that. I hope it works out for you.
Okay, good.
Thanks for being with us, Hank.
Sure, I'm really happy to do it.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Folks, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. We have Dave from Blimp 911 on deck, and we will be back to him